Hey everybody, this is Professor Linnea. If you can see my screen, you can see that I've got an article up behind me, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how do you know the components of a research study. So one of the things that we do when we read external research is that we look at, of course, the name of the journal, because we want to make sure it's not a spurious journal. We want to look at the date, especially if we're trying to justify a problem. We want it to be a current date. This is 2 years old, because remember, every time you publish something, it's going to have been the years previous of work. So you want a fairly current article for that. And then the first thing I read is always the abstract. It tells you what the problem is. And in this case, this is a phenomenological study. And we know that from a number of things. One of the things is they say we present a hermeneutic phenomenological investigation. Hermeneutics is a specific branch of phenomenology. And so they talk about that throughout the article, if you want to read more about that. But I think that what's really important is that a phenomenology is usually a very, very, very focused exploration into the experiences of participants on the phenomenon. In this case, their phenomenon is question asking in a graduate student question asking in a graduate seminar on design theory. So it's focused in terms of participants. It's focused in terms of the class, the specific class, and it's time bound as well, which is similar to a number of other designs we talked about, bounding a case. But this is not a case study because the phenomenon is question asking. All right, and so you will find information throughout that gives you more. Of course, we have their own lit review, right? That's very, very helpful to understand question asking, and then looking at it from a hermeneutic, moral realist perspective. That also is defined quite well. Gadamer, Taylor, Driver, Heidegger as well. And I think that's a wonderful discussion that situates this study. The study is interpretive in nature and phenomenological overall in philosophical stance. It's emphasizing an activity that people have experienced. And so if you're going to talk about what people have experienced, one of the things that you're going to do in your methodology is to have a few people who can really give us a sense of what has happened. There's 8 participants in this class, all right? And they give you pseudonyms and gender and degrees sought, all of that. So you can get a kind of understanding of the people who are part of this. And then there's a little bit of bio about each person. And then the data collection is very interesting because they used observations and artifacts, but the in-depth interviews, each person was interviewed 3 times over an hour each, which is normal for phenomenology. You want to keep interviewing that person to try to get at the heart of those experiences. All right, one important fact is to remember that in a phenomenological design, we are looking at a specific phenomenon to try to get more information about it, whether it's psychologically, socially, behaviorally. It is not a causal study. It's not telling you anything that is going to cause something else, one variable causing another. Remember, that's in our quantitative study. All right, so I hope that this is helpful, a little bit more about phenomenology.